Everyone has a story. Sergeant Norm Forbes IV certainly has one to tell.
Every single time somebody asks me the question, do you mind talking about it? Yeah, sure. I'll tell you the story.
It all began on March 17th, 2008.
I'm driving down one of the major highways that go through Baghdad, and we came up to a choke point. As we were coming up on it, I didn't really feel right, so I just hit the gas real hard. Next thing you know, instantaneous, just bang, 4 bombs go off on the side of my truck. Get out! I knew immediately what happened, but I didn't know how bad it was because I didn't feel any pain, so I just assumed that I didn't get hit myself.
Norm's story is one he never thought he'd be telling.
That, my friends, is an I.E.D. hit.
It doesn't seem like it'll ever happen to you, and so it almost seems like everything's a movie. I got real scared because I didn't know exactly what I was going to do because I was hurt. My buddy in the passenger seat was hurt, and the gunner's gone. Almost immediately, my driver's side door opens, and there he is. At that time, he was only in the military for about 10 months or so. He was one of my new guys, and he's never seen combat before. And he looked at me like with disbelief. I told him, I was like, hey, look, just get me out of the truck. And at the time, I was weighing in excess of 300 pounds, not just my body weight, but that's all the equipment included. And that's when he grabbed me and he pulled me out like it was nothing. I was just pretty much laying there by myself in the streets of Baghdad bleeding. And there was 10 or so Iraqi policemen. They were just standing there watching, kind of looking at me. And that really angered me.
And all these people that you see, right in there, not a reaction out of them. It's like they expected that.
Just minutes later,
our platoon sergeant's truck pulled up, and the platoon sergeant, he's sitting there in the passenger seat, and he would look back from time to time, and he would just say, "Hey, Sergeant Forbes, hang on, hang on."
When he arrived at the headquarters, the pain of Norm's injuries began to set in.
I was starting to come down out of my adrenaline high, and so that's when I started to feel the first bit of pain. My buddy died like 1 or 2 times on the table, and I remember looking over at him, and I was so worried about him because he was one of my best friends. They wrapped me up, and they they set my bone, my femur, and wow, was that painful.
He was then rushed over to the helicopter pad.
They closed the door, and then bang, there goes the helicopter, And I remember looking down at the city of Baghdad thinking, hey, I'm leaving. I will never see you again. I do not want to come back to this place.
Norm and his fellow soldier were flown to the Green Zone, the most heavily fortified area in Baghdad, where they each underwent multiple surgeries. The next stop was Landstuhl, Germany. Once Norm was in stable condition, he was flown to San Antonio's Brooke Army Medical Center in his home state of Texas. Norm describes the injuries he endured on that tragic day.
In here, I had pieces of shrapnel go through my arm this way. It broke my arm here. It broke the other metacarpals, cut all my nerves, cut all my tendons, and this hand was absolutely destroyed. Over here on this arm, as you can see, I just got a little filleted. It didn't really cause any damage other than to the flesh and to the muscle. You see, this is the entrance wound. I got some blast from little particles of shrapnel going in. Here's the exit wound, which it blew it out pretty good. I had muscles just hanging out everywhere. And this is probably the worst. I had my entrance wounds here, and it came in, broke my femur, and that's what it caused right there. I'm missing a piece of my muscle that helps extend your leg fully, so I can't extend my leg fully. Because of the shrapnel, it nicked the artery and vein. They grew together and created an aneurysm. They go in and cut it out, and then to patch the hole, they had to pull a piece of vein out from right here.
Did you have to relearn everything?
Pretty much. It was real hard. I was in a wheelchair for another 2 months. I had to use a walker most of the time, and until it got to the point where my endurance and the strength in my legs came back, and then that's when I graduated up to a cane.
His only regret being that he wasn't sitting in the passenger seat that day, therefore he was unable to endure the pain of losing both of his legs like his fellow soldier.
I did 110 missions over in Iraq, and in like 107 of those were me sitting in that passenger seat. And so that just happened to be one of those days, that my buddy was acting as truck commander, and he's,
And that was usually you sitting in the passenger seat.
Mm-hmm.
Despite his injuries, Norm wouldn't change a thing.
If 4 years ago I knew what was going to happen to me, I still would have joined.
He considers his experiences priceless.
When I joined the military, it turned me around. It made me a man. It gave me direction. It gave me goals that I wanted to achieve, and that's something that you can't buy. And when you go and you hear bullets flying by your head, or bullets dinging off your truck, or guys getting shot, seeing guys get shot, killed, you have a bomb blow you up. I'm pretty sure that a lot of things, in this world, a lot of the problems that people face are pretty insignificant.
He braved his life
so that, people here could sleep in their own bed, peacefully at night. I fought for that guy, my buddy, right next to me. I wanted to make damn sure that he came home, that he was able to see his family again.
He doesn't deny that war.
It is really one of the ugliest things in the world, and nobody should experience it, nobody.
Although his career as a soldier has been short-lived, his future as a man of bravery and valor will continue on.
I'm looking to do one of the federal agencies like the FBI, CIA, Homeland Security.
And he wants no accolades for the blood, sweat, and tears he's sacrificed to ensure Americans the freedoms of the red, white, and blue. Would you consider yourself a hero in any way?
Absolutely not.
Why?
I was just doing my job. I was just doing the job that I love to do. That's all.
He was awarded a Purple Heart for the courage and valor he demonstrated in Iraq. Despite his humble response, Norm is a hero. He belongs to history as furnishing one of the greatest examples of successful patriotism. He belongs to posterity as the instructor of future generations in the principles of liberty and freedom. He belongs to the present, to us, by his virtues and by his achievements. General Douglas MacArthur,